Good evening again. So, following the last video of the small Neo apocalypse, I decided, in that video I proposed to recreate the experiment, this time with without the wound symbols like of the Neos, and instead use the portal symbols that are not wound. But before we do it, I decided to run the same experiment again with just a slightly different version. This is done many times for the symbolic purpose. You know, the Neos, there is the duality principle, which of two things that are similar but not identical. It repeats a lot, it's quite common. It's used for all sorts of purposes. I mean, what we do here is just generalization. I mean, two types that are very, very similar, almost the same thing, and they are reinforced by the repetition. So it's almost the same, exactly the same. Again, taking stuff from this container that we know from the crucible, that we've seen all sorts of like nice type, many Neos, and place it on top of the fire with yeast. So I actually used all the yeast. The yeast looked like worms when we added to the mixture. Like it float like worms. Very nice. But let's prepare some more. And so I decided to run the same experiment to reinforce the symbolic purpose of deleting the Neos from the Titan body, but also to watch under the microscope if the effect repeats. It's interesting. Okay, so the only difference is that we used this blue container it's not really, it's metallic, but it's covered with a blue to purple color. It's this also symbolizing the metal, the Titan body. But if you interpret this shade as blue, it means that zombified ones that are totally controlled by the trained bacteria. And the contraction means remove the Neos from the bodies of the Titans that are zombified, which means that they're totally controlled by that are infested with trained bacteria. This will probably shorten their disease, together with the expected, shorten of lifespan. But maybe they will be happy about it because it's at that stage it's not the nice thing. But in general, it's very similar to the other experiment, like with this container. And again, what we've seen is total annihilation of all the Neos from the container. Now we'll take 3 samples, 2 from this one and 1 from this container. I added a little bit of salt water to this container, so it will be a little diluted, like relative to what we've seen before. But still, we should see tremendous amount of Neos here, and here in the 2 samples that were taken from here, we should see close to none or very, very few. We will use 1 slide with 3 standardized covers because it's the easiest way. So just a second, I'll prepare the slides. Okay, 3 samples to the right and the left from the blue crucible, and the middle, the reference, without that was kept in the relatively high metal can. Just a second. So we do see Nero, not much, very little. So mostly as expected, we do not see Nero. As expected, following the last, so here's a needle that is looked contoured, but this can be because of the, the crucible fire, and then to the right of it and to the left, we still see, let's zoom in. So there are neos here, but very little, very little amount. Very little amount. Okay, so this is the second one is the reference. So immediately you see tremendous amount both neos and actually a little bit of duds that were not dissolved yet, even though it's sour since the fire. But you see tremendous amount as expected from the other observations, both neos and duds. In all kinds of sizes, big, small, all sorts. And then another one from the blue crucible. So we see Nero, nice one actually, and more additional smaller ones. So here we see more additional ones. So not everything was removed, but certainly we see tremendously less amount than, the same mixture that was not burned in this construction. Okay, so this is as expected. So again, we should say that as a tentative, that this is probably due to the symbolic construction. And how can we prove it? By changing the symbolic construction to use the brown representation of the portals instead of the wound, the neos in wound, like the gray ones. But other than that, do the same. Use the same mixture, basic mixture. Add a little bit of oil, add a little bit of, and maybe just a drop of 2 of water, and add yeast. Maybe wait a few minutes until it's like it opens, like it's kind of gets gets all bubbly. And if they were removed, there was like a small apocalypse, even though we saw a little bit, but nothing compared to the reference. If this was actually due to the symbolic construction, we should not, we should see something different. But maybe it's not because of the symbolic construction, but because of something else that I've done and that I don't understand. Maybe the yeast kills it. Why should it kill it? I don't know. The only thing that, can associatively, we can come up with is that the yeast actually look a little bit like neros. Maybe there is some kind of a symbolic issue here. They are also like roundish, even though like sometimes ellipse, but many times round. They look like rings as well. So it's a question. Anyway, let's just find out. And then after that, what we'll do is that we get back to, so a lot of the material, the crucible was replenished because of this experiment, so we need to create more material. And so we have like larger and, bulkier things, stuff to work with. I want to create a little bit of magnification arcs, additional magnification arcs. Maybe it will help us. And once we have like a good mixture that is based on the crucible, maybe we will get. We'll try to do DC over air experiment. I just need to to think about the correct containers for such an experiment. Probably best do it with clay. Maybe metal. I'll think about it. So that's the plan for now. Hopefully, the bicycle mechanism also, initiated. So the actual, the titans of the world, the neurons will be removed from their body. All of it, visually all of it was stolen from me. It was great torture, and of course, I never received anything in return. So, it first justifiable. The most just, the most basic and just move is that just that they will relinquish their authority over the neurons that are not theirs to begin with. I think it's, what's more fair than that? I think all of you will kind of agree with me, especially since they, since this is like, this theft is associated, predicated on my torture, and the torture of my daughters, and that's of course this makes it even worse. As I said many times, I don't expect specifically Titans to rescue me. I expect humans to rescue me from Auschwitz, because this is the planet of humans. Humans are in charge of the planet, and they should be the ones that move arms and legs to rescue me from this hell. Me, my daughters, and their mother. We require rescue using arms and legs, not mouths and tongues. Arms and legs.